I'm speaking with Cristina Wiebelt-Smith, Senior Wealth Advisor at Gertsema Wealth Advisors. Christina, good to see you.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Christina, can you tell us about your professional journey from your education to your career path to how and why you came to your current role?
Of course, I love this question because I have a little bit of a unique midlife career change that I did. But I started out with a degree in accounting. I have a bachelor's and master's in accounting with an emphasis in tax from Oklahoma State University. And right after I graduated, I went straight into public accounting with Big Six at Deloitte and Touche and worked in public accounting for a lot of years with small businesses, their owners, and their families. And I really loved all of that. But as a lot of you may know, tax season can be pretty brutal sometimes. So I loved what I was doing. I loved my clients, but over the years, it got to be tax season just seemed to spread out more and more. So there's the busy time from January through April, but then you also have August through October. And a lot of times we were just as busy, that half my year was really being controlled by my job. And as my kids, we had three children, and I worked part-time, which is the great thing about public accounting. There's lots of flexibility there. I was able to work part-time, but tax season could be 60 to 80 hours a week. And finally, my oldest daughter, she was a senior in high school, and I really did not want to miss anything else. And I also was noticing this pattern of a lot of clients would come to us after they'd made a decision. And so tax-wise, we were pretty limited in what we could do at that point in time. I had other clients who were great. They would bring me planning information, but I wanted to be more on the front of things. And I wanted to be able to talk to clients without worrying about, how I was going to keep my timesheet, how I was going to bill for things. And so I started thinking, maybe there's something else that I could be doing. And I knew that I loved personal finance. Like if any of my friends, they'd ask me to help them with a budget or they'd have finance questions, that's the piece that I loved. And when my clients would come to me about those bigger life questions like, can we afford this house? Can we afford to send our kids to college? Those are the conversations that I loved and I felt the most fulfilled with. But I didn't have really great tools to use in the public accounting world. So I kind of started thinking about financial planning, but I knew I didn't really want to be a salesperson. So it kind of came down to the point I told my husband, I said, I don't think I can do another tax season. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I just don't know if I have it in me. And that was a really big deal in our household because my husband's a teacher and I was always the main breadwinner. Here we were, our oldest was about to go off to college across the country, so there were going to be a lot of expenses. My sister told me I was crazy for even thinking about doing a career change. But I was like, if there's something else out there that I fit with better, I want to at least try it. So I had seen Gertsema Wealth Advisors in our city, and I knew that I went to church with Nick Gertsema. I didn't really know him that well. So I just went up to him after church one day and I said, hey, Nick, I would really love to get into financial planning, find out more about the industry. I have a strong tax background. If you guys are interested in anything like that, love to talk to you. So lo and behold, a few weeks later, he and his dad, Mike, who was the founder of Gertsema, they invited me in. And I had several conversations with them. It seemed like it was going to be a good fit. And I was really hoping that everything they were saying is actually what it was, which is there's no sales quotas, there's no sales pressure. I could still leave when my kids got out of school if I wanted to. And it was really just about all the planning and really taking good care of their clients. And so here I am. I had my 5-year anniversary just a few weeks ago with Gertsma, and it has actually turned out to be everything that they said it was going to be. And I love being able to be on the planning conversations. Clients share so much more information as when you're their financial advisor compared to when you're their CPA. But the great thing is I can see like all those years working with families, businesses, and all that tax knowledge, I still get to use it. I get to use it almost every day, but now it's just in a broader scope. No more tax seasons for me, so that's amazing. And it's honestly, it was the best move that I made in my career.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Can you also tell us something you're working on now, a professional focus, and why you're working on that in particular?
So, one of the main focuses for me right now is working with women. And especially being a female advisor, this is still a male dominated industry, and there's not a lot of female advisors out there. So I think it's really important that as much as I can help women, that's what I want to do. And the story that we hear over and over is that a lot of times, if a household is working with an advisor, they tell us that the female partner tends to just not be as engaged in the conversations. They'll mention they don't get the eye contact. The conversation is directed to someone else in the room. And so gradually they kind of step away and they start to lose some interest, which makes sense. That's what's going to happen. And so, what we're really trying to do is we want to make sure both partners are in the meetings, they both understand what's going on. Because when someone goes through something like a divorce or widowhood or even a big career change, sometimes there's a lot of decisions they have to make quickly. And we want to make sure they have a good base understanding of what's going on in their financial world. So, one of the ways we're doing that is we have a lot of events we have quarterly women's events who are just for our female clients. They can bring a friend with them. We just had our one Galentine's music bingo. It was a great success. We had 60 people. They were having so much fun. And it's about just getting them in the office, feeling comfortable, not even talking about anything investment related. And then we'll have a few more coming up this year. The other things I try to do are if I'm asked to speak out in the community, I pretty much always say yes. If there's any way I can do it, I want to get out there and talk to people. I speak at schools as well because I want all the kids to feel comfortable around money, but especially those little girls, I want them to know there's a place for them in this world and that they should understand all of these things too. So there's a different energy in the room when it's only women. Just like I'm sure there is with men, there's a little bit more of a comfort level. They tend to speak up more, women ask more questions, and that's what we need because for some reason, women think they need to be experts on things a lot of times before they participate in something. Well, they don't need to be an expert in the stock market to invest, to have a financial plan, and that's what we want them to know. So my job is really showing them, here are your options. If you choose this, this is what your income and your assets look like. If you choose this, this is what it looks like. And our job is just to give them good information and they're going to make really good decisions because these women are really smart, capable, successful in their fields, but for some reason they're a little hesitant to get involved with the finances and the investments of the household. So that has become a really big focus for me is just trying to help them. And if someone leaves and they're a little more confident and they're more engaged with their financial world, then to me, we did our job.
Christina, these have been excellent insights. I thank you very much for your personal story. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chris.